Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Qala Allah ta'ala fil Quranil Majid, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, wa atasimu bihablillahi jami'an wa la tafarraqu. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, it is indeed a very sad moment today that we are witnessing the naked aggression of Israel against the helpless and hapless people of Palestine. The barbaric and savage bombardment and attack and relentless onslaught against a people who have been persecuted for long and who are impoverished and neglected and cut off from the other outside world. The recent provocation has been the instigation of innocent Muslims who are praying on Jumatul Wida, the last Friday in Ramadan, in Baitul Maqdis, in Masjid Aqsa. They were fired upon. The holy place was trampled, and the Israeli army injured several Palestinians there. And then there have been attempts at evicting the age-old residents of Sheikh Jarrah, the immediate neighborhood of Masjid Aqsa. This was the immediate provocation, and when the brave people of Palestine resisted and stood up against this aggression, here we see the whole military power of one of the most advanced militaries in the world being unleashed on the people of Gaza. The women and children, the civilian places, the media houses, the hospitals, schools, roads leading to hospitals have all been bombarded. And people have been left in so much of pain and anguish. However, we need to realize that this is just a latest episode in a long struggle, in a long saga of occupation, eviction, and victimization of the people of Palestine. Palestine had only 1% Jews in the early part of 20th century. And it was a Zionist design. Theodor Herzl and his colleagues formed the Zionist movement in 1897, and they decided to make Palestine a homeland for Jews from all over the world. A declaration famously known as Balfour Declaration was passed in 1917, which echoed the same sentiment and facilitated the migration of Jews from all over the world to Palestine. And Palestine, which was under the mandate of British, who were colonizing that country in those years, in 1922 to be precise, it was their efforts and the collusion of other European countries which resulted in a systematic migration under the Zionist plan of Jews, and systematic eviction and disempowerment and dispossession of Palestinians from their lands and homes, which continues to this date. And what was declared as a homeland for Jews, we see in 1948, when the percentage of Jews living there raised from a few percent to 33%. And when the UN General Assembly was on, Israel declares itself as a state. From a homeland, it becomes a state. And then after a long period and sessions of negotiation, UN decides that 55% of the land in Palestine should be given to Jews, who are only 33% of the population, and then the rest of the population of Arabs, Christians and Muslims were to inhabit the 45% of land given to them. And Jerusalem to be made an international capital under the aegis of UN. However, it is a long saga of how Israel has ignored and brazenly acted against several and series of UN resolutions and against the opinion of international bodies and countries all over the world. It is a long story of how they have systematically persecuted the Palestinians and made them refugees in their own lands. They had to be exiled to several other countries. And today we should realize that 75% of the population in Palestine, erstwhile Palestine, is Jewish today, and they hold 85% of the land. Anybody can have a casual look in Google at the map of Palestine and see how systematically over the years the area given to the Palestinians has shrunk to just 15% of the land. And you can see West Bank, the moth-eaten appearance of West Bank, where there is continuous expansion of Israeli settlements. We need to understand the expansionist, the racist, the apartheid-like regime that Israel is today. And we also need to be aware of the fact that the Zionists have further future plans for this area, and they're trying to enact them as early as possible. The demolition of Masjid al-Aqsa, the building of Solomon Temple in that place, and then the expansion of Israel to all those lands which they inhabited historically, which you need to understand includes Jordan, Lebanon, a major portion of Egypt, whole of Syria, Iraq, and a large portion of Turkey, and large swathes of land of Saudi Arabia, including Medina. This is what they dream of as Greater Israel, and this is not just a hidden agenda, rather this is the map that they have depicted in the wall of Knesset, their parliament. Hence, we need to be aware of the Zionist problem that we are facing today, and we need to realize that this is a long story which we need to understand and try and solve this problem.